Okay, it is finally time to do one of our Smash or Pass pieces. It appears that it is a little lidded trinket pot. Could put the butterfly from Smash or Pass episode 1 on here and just have it like up and that be like the lid. Or I could put bees on there, mushrooms, so much. It's a pass. I'm going to be doing the simple little trinket dish this week. But you're probably wondering what that other one was, and it is the rainbow and butterfly mold as well. It's my birthday coming up in the month of October, and I thought it would be so fun to turn these into some little birthday cakes. And I want to use these as some like little cake toppers to put on top of the cake. So what I'm going to go do is pick out some smaller molds from the mystery mold pile and turn those into cake toppers too on different cakes. Hello, my name is Shelby and I'm a potter. I found this bulk lot of slip casting molds and one by one I'm pouring them up to reveal whatever is inside and then finish it into an artwork. This is the mystery mold series, so let's see what's in today's episode. Okay, so we've got lots of little ones to choose from. I think I want to grab these two little ones here. They're so small. And then I might grab this one and this one as well. Okay, so we've got our Smash or Cast ones there, and then these are the ones I picked. So this one has 3 holes, this one has 2, and both of these are so small. They've got 1 each and they've got different numbers on them, so I'm assuming they're going to be different, but if they're the same, oh well. Alright, it is time to open. 4 new ones to open. It's like a little birthday present for me. I'm so excited. And then we've got the 2 that we've already revealed from Smash or Cast. So I'm going to open those ones up. I will let you know that Smash or Cast is coming back. It's just not been warm enough here for me to film the episodes. So I'm actually going to keep it like a summer thing. So that will be coming back early next year. I'm really excited to do Smash or Pass again. It is so much fun and I love unveiling a couple and hearing your ideas for the pieces. And I am really excited for this to be one of my first creations. I've wanted to do a few of them, but I just haven't really had the spark to come back to them yet. But this one I really wanted to do for my birthday because I really wanted to make some clay birthday cakes. I have created some cakes before out of clay and other bits, but not pottery clay. I did that for a campaign with Spotlight to celebrate Make It March. And I really wanted to do real clay. So I've been holding off doing this and I was like, you know what? Do it for your birthday. That is perfect timing. So this is what I'm going to be sculpting the cake onto. So I liked it because it was this round shape and I was like, oh, I could turn this into any kind of trinket box. But because of its round shape, I was like, this is perfect for like a little mini cake. These 4, which I think might end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces in total because these have 3 holes, this one has 2, and these have 1 each. So we'll see what we've got. I picked this one because I was like, it could be 3 small things, it might be 1 really big thing, and we might have to use it as like a cake stand. This one I picked because it looks like 2 small jugs, like the pitcher mold, and I was like, oh, it could be cool to have like a pitcher like pouring onto the cake. And then these 2 just look like they're going to be small figurines, like that little gnome. I mean, I could do that little gnome, but I have another idea for that, so I'm not going to do it in this video. Oh, they're tiny little squirrels. Have a look at those. They are adorable, but not like a typical squirrel look. I love these because we've had the squirrels before. I love those squirrels and I put all the little like letters and little keys on the squirrels, but they were so textured and furry that it was really tricky. But these actually only have texture on their tail, which is really so nice and lovely to work with. That's gonna be so funny. I'm wondering whether I can like tail fits that way, yeah. I wonder why, like they are way too small to be salt and pepper shakers, but they look like if they were a bigger version, you could turn those into salt and pepper shakers. Or imagine that, it looks like they're dancing. Oh, they're holding hands. Maybe they're not holding a nut. Maybe they're holding each other in an embrace of love. Or maybe they're like conspiring. Oh, just the angle changes the whole tone. Ooh, it's a baby turtle. Got a little tail. That is adorable. Stop it right now. Stop being so dang cute. Some of these pieces are really like cartoony and in that era of cartoon that I don't love, but these two so far have been the perfect tastefulness. Like they're just so nice. Oh, stop. That is so cute. I feel like I should put it on there and put some shells around it. I feel like it could be a cute little brush holder next to your paint palette. And you know what? It's the perfect circumference for the top so that I can still decorate around it, but make it the feature. It's such a cutie. It's smiling. I just want to hold it and cherish it forever. I feel like I picked pretty well so far. No, that is so cute. Oh my gosh. We've got some little mushies. I love my mushroom stuff, but these ones are a little bit different to the mushrooms I've had in the past. These ones are more sort of like psychedelic-esque. In a way, they're more kitschy because they're kind of like curvy and got a bit of character and movement and groovement to them. I really like these. So they're kind of a really small one here. We've got a big sort of taller one, which I feel like I could turn into a different species of mushroom. You know, the holy one, can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I think it starts with A. And then this one is really cute. So we've got what looks like a bed of flowers and grass underneath it. It's turning over and it looks like it's got this little chicken with an egg on it. I think I won't use the like little, I guess it's not chicken. Look at all those chickens. It is a bird. It is not a chicken. I feel like with the bird and that little egg, I might just carve that off and keep it a real simple mushroom. Because by the looks of this, it has cracked off and I feel like that's going to be an issue with this piece. Yeah, this is excellent. I feel like I could put all three on a cake. I feel like we could turn these into more mush mug designs. There is so much I could do with these by just cutting them in half. That would be so great. But yeah, I think some tea charms, I definitely think they're going to work so great on, I might get this one out. Oh, look at that. I'm obviously going to cut that bit off, but they're gonna look awesome as like a little cluster on the cake. Oh, I'm stoked with those. They're great. They're fantastic. I love them. This one is the last one. The last mold that looked like this was a turtle. So we're hoping for something similar. I don't know if you can top a turtle, but maybe better than a turtle. Hey, how you doing? Oh, that is so funny. This piece is so funny. Not only is it funny by the fact that it's being funny, but the way they've made the mold so that when you open it, the frog's just like, hey. That is so funny. So we have a classic little cartoon laying down frog that's kind of like relaxing, like sunbaking, which is kind of so perfect for this cake design. It is definitely not a turtle. I don't know whether it's better than a turtle. I definitely love the turtle, but this is hilarious. This is going to be so funny. Oh, that's going to be hilarious. You know what would be funny? Maybe if I could like, I don't think I'll have time to do it, but I'm wondering if I could like sculpt like a lounge chair. I don't think it'll work on this shape, but you could make a little lounge chair and pop it so it's like got a towel and like goggles next to it. Like it's just been at the pool and it's just come out for a little sunbake. I love the little tummy. Oh, it's so funny. They're just like, paint me like one of your French frogs. Well, this is going to be a great reveal and I hope you like it. I'm excited to start working on it, so let's get to it. Before I start decorating these cakes, I need to preface by saying that this week is totally experimental. I'm trying things I have never tried before. I'm doing things that I haven't had any experience experimenting with before, and mediums and techniques. So we're going to approach it with a very experimental mindset, and I am living by this phrase is that I have a vision, but I don't have an expectation. And I think that that is a good way to start this decorating part, is because I just want to play around and see what I can make this week. I do have this vision of trying to make cakes, but my expectation is not that we will have finished cakes at the end of this week. It's just that that is a vision that I'm hoping for. Here is a look at all the molds for those that may be wanting to find them, because there are some real cuties in this week's video. I hope you liked multiple openings this week. It is definitely a birthday present from me to you as well. So let's get stuck into how I'm making these fake clay cakes. So I was gifted a bunch of these stains from Chrysanthos, and I've been experimenting a bit with these. It has been so fun. These are so excellent. So what I'm doing is I'm using these to make icing colors. So rather than piping plain clay and trying to paint the crevices, I wanted to try and make these icing colors so that it goes on the exact color I want without having like paint over and maybe like chip bits of the icing off in the process. I don't know, it just felt like this would be quicker and more efficient than trying to get the coverage, and the consistency would be way better by doing stained clay. I can also play with a lot more different colors that I'm not used to playing with as well, because the stain range is a little bit different to the underglaze range as well. So to make the icing, I popped a little bit of slip into these little jars, and then in a separate jug I put a bit of water and some of the stain and mix the stain up before adding it to the slip. The reason I did that is so that it wasn't lumpy and it was a nice consistency, so you just pour it straight in and mix it in, and it's all even coloring throughout the whole slip. I actually then spilt some all over the floor. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I thought I would include the footage of me cleaning it up. But other than that, it was quite simple. As you saw before, because it is a dry medium and it's a powder, I was wearing a mask, so make sure if you are doing any work with powdered substances that you are wearing a mask to protect your lungs. Once all of them were mixed in and I had all the colors mixed up, I actually left them sit open and let them dry out, because I needed the consistency to be a little bit thicker than slip but not as hard as clay. So it was a really fine line of trying to get the right consistency. It pretty much had to resemble piped icing, where it doesn't just like run off a piece, it kind of holds its shape and holds its form. It was literally the same as working with that. The issue with the clay is I do not know if it's going to work properly, because there is such a tightrope line of knowing whether it's going to be good consistency, because clay can either be really floppy and elastic like and just lose its form and shape because it's so wet, or it can be too stiff and I won't be able to pipe it. But there was a lot of unknown going into this, as well as the fact that my clay might not be a suitable clay for this project. I might need something that's a finer grade, like a porcelain, rather than my sort of more grittier clay. I put all the clays in the piping bags, and I started by using some piping tips that are not as an intense hole to push through. I didn't want a super fine piping tip in case it didn't work. I got one circle piped onto the top of one of these cakes, and it was so hard to do. I'm usually better at piping, but it was just so much force, and this was the runnier versions of the clay, and it was at the point where it was starting to lose its shape as well. So I was right on that fine line, but it was still really difficult to push out of the piping tip. I did end up getting that top line, and I was like, look, this is good enough. I then did some meshing, because I was like, this one's perfect for the turtle. I feel like it's a sea colored type icing, so I was going to put the turtle on top. So instead of doing some piping lines around the base of this cake, I decided that I was going to make these little sculptural bits of coral out of the different colors of stains. So I wanted to do this because it was a real struggle to get the piping. It was really hard to get the consistency and a steady hand whilst pushing out this really thick medium, but I knew I could sculpt these little tiny shapes to look like corals, so it would look like it was a turtle that was swimming on this bed of coral, but it was like almost like a sea themed cake. I also wanted to play with all these different methods of adding texture and shape, because there is actually another piece from the Smash or Cast series that I want to explore shells, corals and sea life on. So I wanted to do a mini version before delving into a larger sculptural piece like that, so that I could test out some of these textures as well as some of these colors, and also just figure out the process on how I'm going to do a larger scale project like that. Because of the drying time of every single step and the process of attaching it, because everything needs to be at this really nice point of attaching, like you can't have it too wet, you can't have it too dry. This was a really good experiment because now I know for that bigger project, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but that bigger project, I know that I'm going to probably have to sculpt all the corals first so that they're all just ready to go, and I can just attach them all in one go, and then just also keep the vessel itself really damp so that I can keep adding to it and working on it. So if I don't finish it all in one day, to have it in a big container so it almost stays in this like damp room environment. But yeah, I really liked how the turtle was looking. It was quite fun. As I said, it wasn't exactly what my vision was, but I have no expectations and I love how it turned out so far. For the second cake, I tried piping again. I didn't like it. It kept sagging and moving. It just was really hard to get a consistent pipe. It was really hard to push through that piping tip as well. It was just so strange, like it was runny yet it was so thick and claggy. So I scraped it off and I did another pipe, and I didn't like that either. I did it again and I tried to trust the process more by doing the full way around, and I still didn't like it. It just looked like I hadn't done a good job, and I was trying so hard to just trust it, but I ended up deciding to move away from piping because it just wasn't working, and I had a short time frame of how long I could have these cakes out of their little damp bucket whilst I was working on them, whilst they were still damp enough to even attach stuff to without it cracking. I then pivoted and started by doing some more of this like sort of scraping rough aesthetic, and I think this is called watercolor piping from what I've looked up online in the cake decorating world. Anyway, this was really satisfying and I really liked how this looked like a blue sky and it mixed and melded onto the cake. It was really cool. I then was able to get some of these piped creams out onto the cake and they were really fun. I was going to add some little cherries to this, but yeah, it was just, oh my gosh, the time, it was just so frantic. Like I was trying to stay calm, but everything was drying and setting so quickly. I liked how it looked, so I added the rainbow onto the middle of the cake and then added some of this weird stuff next to it, but I kind of wish I left this weird stuff off of it because it just looked fine without it. I think I just like got really excited about adding all this texture and fun colors to every single cake. The next cake, because I'm moving away from piping, I decided I wanted to play around with a viral art trend that was popping up a year or so ago. This was doing palette knife painting to create texture and dimension with bold colors. So I used the icing mix to scrape on those petals to create a textured flower pattern. I was really loving how this was looking. I then did the watercolor technique on the base because it was looking so pretty and delicate, and I wanted to complement it on the base as well. So I then attached the butterfly to the top of this one because it just needed the butterfly because it was like it was sitting on a bed of flowers. For the next cake, I wanted to try another viral art decorating technique, which was this textured art where people were using a plaster medium on a big canvas to create these minimal scraping textures in arches and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't know how to explain it in more detail, but yeah, it was like plaster and they used these scrapey texture tools to make shapes on them. It was a really minimal aesthetic. So I started to do this by applying a slip layer all over the cake. I did that because I needed something to move and scrape around to give this aesthetic of the texture like those trends. I then tried a variety of different texture scrapers and I even cut one out of plastic and none of them worked the way I wanted them to. They just looked, again, like I was doing a very bad job. Yeah, so this one just slowly got out of shape from all the experiments. It got really wet and saggy and it started to like frump around. I was not willing to give up on this one yet, so then I used a textured roller and decided to apply this on the outside to try and save it. And we're just going for rustic with this one, okay? And because the texture looks like leaves, I thought this one was now perfect for the frog. So I started finger painting on more colors to create a colorful textured style cloud blanket on the roof, and to be honest, I just wanted an excuse to finger paint with this stuff because it was just getting so messy. The second last one, I decided to do more of that palette scraping onto the base. I did it in this kind of scallop pattern. I then wanted to make it kind of whimsical, like a fairy garden-like aesthetic. So I used the mesh sieves I have in my studio to push through the green clays to create this mossy grass-like stuff. And I was just using like the paint palette to then transfer it from the sieve to the top of the cake. I attached these to the lid to make it look like it was this gorgeous bed of moss or a bed of grass, and then I popped the squirrels and mushrooms on them. I hadn't planned to put the mushrooms and the squirrels on the same cake, but the ideas were just flowing. Like I was just going wherever my mind was feeling at peace, you know? It's this coming back to this comment of I do not have an expectation, I just have a vision. And as long as I get these somewhat experimental cakes finished, I'm gonna be happy. It's all learning, and I've already learned so much. The last one I am actually not turning into a cake topper idea. It is more just to experiment with one more decorating technique using colored clay, and I'm actually going to play with the offcuts of all the clay as a paint. So I'm using a brush to water them down and turn them into a watery slip, like an underglaze consistency. I'm then just brushing them on to see what they look like. I'm not really going for any kind of pattern. I just want to see how it turns out and hopefully get a surprise at the end. So decorating with slip is quite common in pottery, but I never really use it because I love underglaze and a lot of the glazes as well. Sometimes I wish I could do everything all at once. Like there are so many different styles, aesthetics and variations of pottery. I wish I could be doing them all the time. This week was a really fun week for me to just be okay with it looking like pretty bad. I just allowed it to just be whatever it ended up being, because at the end of the day it was a learning experience, and can you tell the results are really good? But it was just meant to be a learning experience for me to learn more about how the different color stains look, just how the different clay looks together, how the different textures react, how I glaze the different textures and whether it actually works. Also to test cracking, like how prone are they to cracking, because it just kind of goes against all my grain of adding some extra slip, because you're kind of just directly adding the slip to all the pieces. So yeah, it's just gonna be whatever it ends up being, and I'm okay with that. I then bisque fired all the cakes before adding underglaze because all the little bits were so fragile. I didn't want them snapping off or accidentally knocking them in the process because they were so tiny. I just wouldn't be able to fix it or go back to fix it. So once they had been bisqued, they were then strong. They weren't the strongest, they were just a bit stronger, so that if I knocked them it wasn't going to like absolutely obliterate all those little grassy moss bits. But I then decorated all the little toppers with colors I thought were going to work with the clay colors underneath. That is just prefacing that I picked the wrong colors. And know that this is not typical for what my aesthetic is at. I don't love the finished results in the sense of like colors and the finished finesse of them, but I love them in the sense of the fun I had and the experiment and how fascinating and cool it is to learn something new. That is why I love these pieces so much. Glaze them up and pop them in the kiln, and let's open the kiln together. It is kiln opening time. I am very excited. It is going to be like opening a present, but it will be cake. So let's see what's inside. I have two concerns. Is cracking, which I already knew it was going to crack because one had cracked already in bisque firing. And the other concern is what colors they're actually going to be, because I forgot what stains I used. And yeah, they might have just changed to what I expected them to look like as well. So yeah, let's crack it open and see. Oh wow. Oh wow, okay. That is so cool. They are amazing. Everything here is so whimsical. I'm so excited to delve into this. I am loving these cottage flowers, which you'll see in the vlog, but this is just cool. Oh my gosh. I'm just like loving I'm looking at everything. I need to do one at a time because I'm just looking at everything. Oh my gosh. It is so pastel-y and fun. Oh my gosh. Look at it. It looks like it's sitting on a bed of coral. And all those sculptural corals are just amazing. Oh wow. I love the textures of these. Just like the scraping motion is really cool. It doesn't really match the top, but I just didn't really know what colors I was doing. It's just a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like this would look so cool if there were different gradients of green, which is what I thought I was using, but they're all different blues. But it still works. It still looks so cool. I love that. This is really cool. I really like it. Wow, that's quite cute. It's very simple. I feel like the colors could be more vibrant to be more aesthetically pleasing to my eye, but I think that they're quite muted and it's nice as well. I'm interested to see what the inside of that one looks like because I also painted the inside. The little frog, oh my goodness. What a critter. And it looks kind of cool. I feel like that design definitely has potential as well. And then this one was meant to look like a little beach rug. Or like a picnic blanket. Oh my gosh. That's really cool too. I really like how this one turned out. It is a bit wobbly and like I've lost the shape by rolling it. But it has a really cool potential underneath there, having that stained clay and then having the rolling on the top. I love those flowers. I want to play with that again. That is cool. I put a bit of like an opalescent glaze on that to just give it some dimension, I guess. I wish I did yellow. I wish I did the butterflies yellow. I was tossing up to do it yellow and I went with green. But that was when I thought that was green, but it's blue. So I wish I did it yellow now, but it is still really cool. Oh, stop. I didn't realize I did this one a different color. I didn't even realize. So this is like orange clay instead of white clay, which it works. It works so well. This is very dreamy, very fun. These are just so dangerous. They're so pointy and sharp and hard. Oh my gosh. But I love this. This is cool. I love the little clouds. I love these little bits. I just put them in there because I didn't know what to put in there. In fact, it could have done without those. It is very cool. Again, love this. I feel like it was just such a fun week for playing with texture. I'm pretty wrapped with them. I'm gonna get the lids off now so that they don't cool down too much and shrink on. So let's do that. There you have it. I totally forgot that I stained that rainbow cake a different color underneath. I didn't even see that color. I could not see it. You can see it when you look back at the footage that it is a little bit of a different color to the white clay, but they all look really they all look really cool. I just love the texture. It is just so fun to see something different from me and it not be so two-dimensional. Yeah, I don't really love them as like I wouldn't go out of my way to own them. I think the butterfly one is actually my favorite. I do love how those flowers turned out and I probably would do that again. I think I would just change the butterfly to a yellow pastel-y color because the green is just weird. Why did I even do the green? I don't know. I just thought it was going to look good. I do love how the painterly slip looks. This is definitely an aesthetic I could get around. I just feel like I could play around with a better patterning style with that one. The moss is really cool. I feel like I can evolve on that so much and I feel like I could do a whole piece where it's just moss and then mushrooms. That would be really cool. I also loved the corals. They worked out really good and I'm definitely going to do a larger scale piece using those corals. As for the frog, I mean, the colors are kind of cool under that textured roller, but it's so out of shape now. It's so random. They are very colorful, very fun. They're not necessarily cake looking. I mean, they're kind of cake looking. They more just look like fancy, weird little trinket pots, and they just look like different people made every single one of them. Like, it looks like 6 different people made a cake, and these are everyone's cakes. It was a funny week. I really enjoyed it, and I really do love seeing the results of something totally different this week. But I would love to know what you thought of me playing around with textures this week and the colored clay, and maybe some ideas of how you would use colored clay in the comments. I can't wait to see you again next week, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and here is your sneak peek for the next reveal.